Guys, I'm having fun. I'm not talking over this, just so the story is given to you guys 100%. Have fun.
William Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood and shows extensive mutation. But this is not what happened to me. I must keep on searching. The sun is about to rise. I can feel it. I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now. plan to stay here until my research is complete. I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood? Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know Dr. Swansea wanted you to rest, but we have somewhat of a crisis.
A crisis, you say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
What type of hospital are you running? No antiseptics?
You have been away too long, Doctor. With the war and now this epidemic, supplies have been running scarce for months now.
I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages.
However do you mean?
If combined correctly, certain household chemical products can be used in a pinch instead. Now, where's the hospital storeroom?
The storeroom? Fat chance. This is the Pembroke, and space is luxury we don't have. Everything used to be stored in the old morgue.
Perhaps I should look there first. Where is this morgue?
It's the large building behind the hospital. You'll need to go in the back door because it's been sealed off for sanitary reasons. Take this key. It opens a small back entrance at the end of a narrow street.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end of a narrow street. On my way then. Thank you, nurse.
Yes, Doctor?
Why then do you always work the nights? Don't you ever sleep?
At the Pembroke, we're always hands on deck.
Lack of sleep and the medical profession always ends in disaster. I've witnessed many a colleague succumb to stimulants to fight exhaustion. Drugs were as deadly as bullets in the trenches.
London's trenches start here at Pembroke Hospital. We are on the front line, make no mistake.
Your dedication to the Pembroke does you credit, Nurse Crane, but when do you sleep?
We staff get our sleep when we can, Doctor. Nursing is a vocation, not the labor of a journeyman.
Exactly how bad is the supply situation here at Pembroke?
It really depends. Dr. Swansea deftly works his society contacts for monies, but with the quarantine, well, we're in God's hands.
Please, could you point me in the direction of the morgue again?
It's the large boarded-up building behind the hospital. You can't miss it. The key I gave you will open the small back door to it.
That's all for now, Nurse Crane, thank you. It's locked. I cannot enter.
So I'm turning the sound back on, because apparently there are some pieces where there's pretty much no talking going on at all. And I don't want to bore you guys. So just FYI what I'm doing right now. Getting familiar with all the characters, so I've got a somewhat good view on picture of the whole city.
It's locked.
Getting to know all those characters is important, I guess.
Yes, Doctor?
Oops.
That's all for now, Nurse Crane, thank you.
We talked to her already. Let's get to know the patients here.
Good evening, Nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
You must get a hold of yourself, Nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
How long have you been a nurse?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
Ooh, she's a feisty one.
You're right. When dealing with such a terrible disease, one must remain humble. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try our best.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
I like how they're looking directly at the camera sometimes.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Good to know. So we're done with her. Let's check up on the others. I don't know, personal questions. Oh, just requires sense.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
The pain.
That is the burn
Here
victim.
again.
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Yeah, sounds like he is having some survivor skill.
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? What really happened?
I wasn't disfigured by any German shells. It happened during my leave. It was an accident.
Tell me what really happened then.
I went with a whore in Rouen. Dead drunk I was. The hotel was a shithole. There was a fire that night.
Did you start the fire? Were you trying to avoid going back to the front? That's not uncommon, you know.
No. It's just that I was asleep when the flames reached the room. The girl was long gone. Bitch never woke me up. Left me to burn.
Why lie about it?
Come on. It's one thing to come back disfigured by the Germans, and it's another to get injured in an accident that could have happened to anybody.
So that's the decision-making process. Surgery could help you. Beauty is not everything. You cannot hide forever. Let's go with the right one.
Beauty is not everything, Mr. Elwood.
Says Mr. Pretty Face.
Well, shit.
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? What really happened?
I wasn't disfigured by any German shell.
Tell me what...
I went with a...
Did you stop?
No.
Okay, so we can't repeat that.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
Jesus, he's pushy.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
I'll sure be back.
The pain.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon.
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
Okay, she's probably deluded.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Jesus.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
New hint available. Personal questions.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
It was such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Time has lost its effect on me. But the suffering continues.
I have wasted too much energy for so little result.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the Dockers' trade union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
That's the guy we killed last time, so now apparently his wife has taken up duties. That's how the game changes throughout the story.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
He seems like a nice guy then.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token. if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Oh. So he's definitely not gonna use that cross against us then.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognise Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke? Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
If we ever get the choice to let him back to the people, I would not do that, because I'm
Goodbye,
not sure.
Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later.
I'm not sure how vampires are made in this game, so there's a good chance he's going to turn. And I wouldn't let him back to the poor people there.
It's locked, all right.
So we're learning a good deal about the people around us. And that is the point of this game, isn't it? I'm just talking over the segments where there's... Ah, okay, no, I don't want to go out. Sorry. Long letter. Ah, the nurse. Pippa.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Pepper, are you sure you want to leave this hospital?
To become a nurse was a little girl's dream. But in the end, I don't feel that useful. I want more. I want to make things change.
I would encourage her to stay here.
You should be proud of what you've achieved. This hospital represents hope for many people in need of help.
Maybe you're right. But at the moment, I feel like we're just a cemetery waiting room.
Pepper, are
To become a nurse...
you should be...
Maybe you're...
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
So, anyone else we can talk to here?
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
Oh, he's a dick. Okay, quite a nice guy. Let's kill him if we can.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
Oh, okay. He's bitter and jealous. No need for such animosity. Jealousy will not do any good. I won't go down there because that's too confronting. But I think we can be enemies with him.
Aren't you too old for such jealousy? It really won't do you any good, you know.
Don't be ridiculous, Dr. Reed. A simple glance is enough for me to know you have nothing for me to envy.
What a jerk.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
He does seem to be well-intentioned about the patients, so I'll cut him some slack for being a dick, but...
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
Okay, I've saved many lives. Knowledge is our main weapon. I'll go with that.
Knowledge has always been and will remain our main weapon, and it has always come at a price. And personal initiative.
It is not a question of initiative, it is a question of integrity. These men and women have put their faith in us, Dr. Reed.
I kind of feel, knowing these types of characters from movies, he's going to be your enemy at first, but going to be a moral compass, because he has got some good points about... Apparently we've been kind of a dick in the past, so let's cut him some slack there.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
I think he could eventually prove to be a good ally. He's not sucking up to us. Let's see how he evolves the character.
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
I'll be glad to help you.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
I kind of love how a game about vampires deals so much with medicine. That's kind of sweet.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
You know, he's friendly, but I suppose he's probably having some dead bodies in his basement.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea, but with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True, true. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time.
Sweet side quests.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
So we learn a bit about the good doctor.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior, a man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
As of right now, I'm seeing points with both doctors, so let's see how this is going to turn out.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Let's talk to the good doctor again.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Tell me, Waverly, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
I cannot tell if what's the best to go to. A trusted judgment would say that I totally believe in what he says, but you will assume the consequences is neutral.
If you are going to lead this surgery, I'm trusting you to assume the consequences of your actions. whatever the result.
I'm not the kind of man who runs away from his responsibilities, Dr. Reed. There is no need for you to be looking over my shoulder.
Okay, guys, I'll be right back. Just gotta check the sound, if there is anything in the background. So the sound is working, I see. Is anything else we can find out there? Nope.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
As of right now, I think both have a valid point about their way of approaching it. I think the one is conservative, the other is more pushing. Let's see.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable. And your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies.
Yeah, all the blood making you icky, yeah?
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is, I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same, I guess.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
Oh shit, poor guy.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army. Building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
So, nothing new?
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I don't think we'll find anything new about the doctors. Let's have a look-see around, though.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No,
Really? Why are you here, then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather...
I'll let you get...
Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Mr.
I'm okay.
Sounds like a suicide case.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Goswick.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
I have to go now, sir.
Don't waste
Good
your
evening,
time
madam.
with me.
Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
What a cunt.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
I guess the kid tried to hang himself.
Good
if his
evening,
throat
Mr.
hurts.
I'm okay.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea what my mother is capable of. She would tie herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox, but rest assured you're in good hands here.
It's not me you have to convince, Dr. Reed. It's my mother.
How
So painful,
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
We talked to him already. Talked to him already. And that's the outside. I guess it's time to talk to Pippa about charging for a bed, which is quite unethical, I'd say. But if the mother was a cunt about it, I wouldn't mind.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Uh-huh. So there's apparently no way to
Goodbye,
talk to her
Nurse
about that.
Hawkins.
Then I'll talk to the mom again.
As for me,
Good evening, Doc.
Okay.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Then we gotta talk to the grumpy guy.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
An invisible enemy. Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance. Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
Yeah, good. If she's telling you to stop exhausting yourself, then just follow it.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Good. Milton Hooks.
Another night of the glorious battalion of Pembroke.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
He's a weapons stealer. Pretty nice.
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything, and it's getting worse every day.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital? That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
That's a quest.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
I don't disagree in this anarchic state. Usually I'm not pro-weapons, but he does have a point.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
I don't know, I kind of like the guy.
Do you know that Nurse Hawkins is thinking of leaving the hospital?
That's not a surprise. We've talked about it already.
Does it not bother you?
Sometimes I think she may be right. We should run away while we can. Question is, where can we go? Where is it safe?
Do you know?
That's not.
Does it not?
Sometimes.
I'd like to.
Wise choice, Doc.
Okay, so he is selling us some valuable stuff we could need. Good. Let's see. Anyone else? Have we met everybody we could? Unknown.
It's locked.
Damn. The pain. It's here again.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Every street corner.
Yes, Doc.
That's all for now, Nurse Crane. Thank you. Good evening, Doctor.
Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Of course, we can't enter.
Please, sir. I need help bad.
What's going on?
I'm Blight, sir. Newton Blight. I've lost my mate. Can't find him anywhere.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed from the Pembroke Hospital. Please, calm down and give me more details.
Oswald and myself were both infantry, sir. We were en route for the hospital, but we had a disagreement. And Oswald ran off towards the canal.
How long have you been searching for him?
I can't go there. Too many rats by the water. Fucking rats. Can't stand them since the war, sir. Can't stand them at all.
Don't be ashamed, Mr. Blight. Many soldiers who survived the trenches suffer from musophobia. I'll see what I can do for your friend. What can you tell me about yourself?
I'm Oswald's best friend. We served in the same regiment, sir. Taken care of each other since we came back from the front.
What can you tell me about your friend?
His name is Oswald Thatcher. We survived the war together. Oswald is nervous and quite fragile since we came back from the war.
This is a dangerous part of town. What are you doing here?
We were looking for the Pembroke Hospital. We both need help. Treatment, I mean. To get some sleep. Just need to feel better, sir.
Where was your friend the last time you saw him?
He went down by the canal. He didn't want to go to the hospital. I think he went to the sewers on purpose. So I couldn't go after him.
I have all the information I need for now. If I find anything out about your friend, I'll let you know as soon as I can.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. Turn around, sir. Are you bloody stupid? You're mine, vermin!
I cannot enter. It's locked, all right.
Have you found Oswald?
Not yet, sir.
All right.
Where was your...
He went down by the canal.
I have all the information I need for now. If I find anything out about...
Thank you, Doc.
So I guess
It's locked.
his friend then, huh?
It's locked, all right.
Someone is up there. So apparently Thelma, with calling herself a vampire, fucked up and got the local vampire hunters active. So I guess our job is to protect her from possible danger. So skells are kind of like ghouls, vampires that just went crazy. And a proven brawler, of course.
If you spot one, fire! Burn it, boys! He's dead!
So for now the game is really intricate. Awesome, actually.
It's locked.
What happened? Who are you?
It's all right, sir. You're safe now.
Oh, a fellow Englishman. Thank you, sir. For a moment, I thought those bloody heathens had killed me.
What are you doing here? This place is not safe.
Yeah, it's a cesspool, but it's mine. I came to collect some overdue rent. But those who still live here have gone completely bonkers.
You're very lucky to be alive.
Yeah, filthy immigrants. Fucking savages, every one of them. And now with this bloody fever, they're just animals.
You can find safety of sorts in Whitechapel. If you're quick and cautious, you'll be able to avoid the savages. You had better return.
Safety.
Okay, he does seem like an asshole, so I think we could have done without saving his ass, but still.
This is Braille. I need someone who can read this.
As of right now, the game is incredibly well developed. I'd argue it's definitely one of the deepest games I've played in the past few years. So apparently there's not just Spanish flu, but also vampiric, how do we call it, epidemic, yeah, an outbreak of vampirism. And instead of turning into normal, intelligent vampires, they turn into crazed, savage vampires. It's pretty awesome. The scowls are ghouls. That's what I learned from now. For now. We still have to continue our citizen quests.
Shit, that leech is smart! Mine!
Okay, I need help. Let's loot a bit while I'm at it. think we're done here. At least that's what I'm hoping.
We have to stop!
Dead inside. Oh, that's so Walking Dead of the game. Yeah, I'm playing story mode, so it's a bit easier for me because I'm not a fan of those.
More and more of these blood leeches every night. Aye. But the gods recruit more and more every year. Die, vermin!
Jesus, fuck, a werewolf? So the game also has werewolves. That is something I did not know. I'm dead. Shit! Let's see how we respawn in a game once we die. Okay. Yeah, I want to go find the kid and be helpful and all. Okay, and all the enemies respond too.
Die, vermin!
It's locked, all right. I cannot enter.
Okay. But I need to get down that street. Uh-huh. I mean, there's a hideout so I can evolve and regain my strength. But okay, I gotta go through there, I guess. That's open. Good. I think that's just the exit for the quest. So, going down there, then on the right. Let's hope we don't find another werewolf, because that fight really fucked me up. Man sollte mich hören eigentlich. Hört man mich? Soll ich lauter stellen? Ja, es ist nicht live. Es ist nicht live. Just go ahead and
Fuck you all! Fuck it all! Stop it now, Albert, stop it!
okay. Guess Albert is dead.
I'll not die in some stinking alley reeking worse than a week old lappy.
Kids, don't fight.
What? Shooting a boy in the middle of a street. Not the best thing to do, wouldn't you say?
What? You saw what happened? Who are you?
I'm Dr. Reed, and I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you promised me to set your gun aside.
No. Look, I'm not a violent man. I'm Benjamin Palmer, doctor. And no one can help me. Not even you.
What can you tell me about this place?
Nothing to say, really. This is where I used to live, and this is where I live now.
You don't have anywhere to go? No family that would welcome you?
Not since the death of my wife, Albert's mother. She was sick, you see. Long before the flu and all this shit.
You mean you used to have a better life?
Yeah, I had a wife, a home, and a job. I even used to have a name. Now I'm just Ben. Ben the Trap.
Perhaps you could focus for a moment and tell me your troubles.
I'm sick, broke, and my son just stole my pills. Everything's coming up roses.
Whatever the boy did, I'm sure he didn't deserve a public execution.
I swear I didn't want to hit him. It's just that I'm sick in the head, you see, and the boy just frayed me last nerve.
I have found a very interesting letter. Your son planned to prove his worth to the gang by stealing your medicine.
Oh, I see. So the little bugger thought he could use his dad to build a reputation.
The gang's recruiter was dead when I found him. Perhaps you should take better care of your son.
I love my Albert, sir. Believe me. It's just... well, I'm an arsehole, I suppose. Anyway, thanks for the letter. This is for your trouble.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Have you heard anything?
It's funny, I've been searching for her too. I need some pills. But the woman is a phantom, if you ask me.
Really? And why is that?
Word is she ain't real. She's a cover for some doctor who runs an illegal dispensary for migrants.
A gun, alcohol, and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now.
Well, I could probably kill him. He's not worth shit.
Wet boots will be proud of me.
Are you all right?
The bastard hit the wall next to me. I don't even know if he meant to miss.
If you've been hurt, I can help you. I'm a doctor.
Name's Albert. Remember it. Now bugger off.
What happened? Did you really steal that man's medication?
Hey, I didn't do anything. It ain't me.
Yes, you did. And it was cowardly and inexcusable.
Sod off, mister. You ain't got no clue what's going on here. Bastard was a soldier in the war, so now he's got the right to shoot me.
It's true. I'm not familiar with this part of town. Perhaps you could help me.
I said sod off. Go find yourself another guide.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? If you know anything about her, I'd appreciate it.
Never heard of her. She's pretty, I'll keep an eye out.
Goodbye, young man.
Me? I'll not die in some piss-stinking alley drinking worse than a week-old lavvy.
Okay guys, I'll put in a little pause here and be back in like 15 minutes, okay? Please stay tuned. What's up, guys? I'm back. Let's see if the video is working the way I expect it to, and yes, it is. I'll be talking a bit on the side, a bit more, so everybody's a bit entertained. So, our next objective is another side quest, I hope. Find someone to read Braille. Okay, that'll take time. Kogan Bates. That's the guy we had to rescue. Garden, that's something we're gonna do later on. Gotta tell her that's back at the hospital. Reach the pharmacy. Yes, I'll go to the pharmacy. Oh, wow, that's way back at the docks. Okay. Since this game has no fast travel, this will take some time.
Me, I'll not die in some piss-stinking alley reeking worse than a week-old laffy.
Gotta say, chicken nuggets are awesome.
Is no match for the Swanborough cordial.
Someone new.
Good evening, miss.
Good evening, sir. Are you interested in a miraculous cure for this unknown and deadly epidemic?
Actually, I am.
Then you have come to the right place. The famous Swanborough cordial is all you need to help keep you in perfect health.
Oh, really? Why didn't I hear about it during my studies? I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Ah, my brother has spoken of your research, sir. I'm Loretta Swanborough, and it's always a pleasure to meet a fellow healer.
Okay, she's selling you narcotics, I guess. Because she is that straight option. Let's see who she is.
Tell me, who intrigues you most in Whitechapel?
The region itself is something to see, but I would say Camellia the mute florist who gives away her flowers.
What do you think of the locals?
Most of them are afraid or desperate. They all come to me eventually for my remedy.
Is there anyone I should avoid?
Cadogan Bates, without a doubt. The bloody bastard remorselessly exploits poor migrants as soon as they get here.
So, she's selling snake oil. Hint, wiring.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like to talk about competition.
Competition, you say?
Never met her, but it seems she provides some sort of medical care to the poor. The whole thing has to be some sort of scam, if you ask me.
I'd like to see what kind of medicine you're selling.
She's selling opium, codeine, and the Swanborough cordial. I'll buy one and check what it is. There's the drunk dad.
Gangs are ruining this neighborhood, if you ask me.
Ich glaube, die musst du auf einen geraden Grund
If I
stellen.
could get some work in, everything would be better.
Oh, there's someone new. Oh no, that guy's dead. Well. Ooh, blood. Ooh, a bloody door. Let's open it. Don't open, dead inside. Blood, blood, even more blood. Poor bastard. My girlfriend is eating pralines the way he's drinking blood. With vicious intent. Oh yeah. 24 more days, 23 more days until it's Christmas. Have a holly jolly Christmas. It's the best time of the year. Oh, I think that's where we were in the very first quest. Oh yeah, that's a safe haven for us. Awesome. So we can evolve here. If you haven't checked the game out before, evolve is just what the game calls turning you up, giving you more health, physical prowess. I don't think we need that yet. I think more health would be swell. What else? Shadow Veil. Drain your stamina to fade into the shadows and become invisible to most enemies. I don't think we need that yet. And ultimate, we don't have that yet. That's more for grenade. Blood barrier. That sounds good. My manager is checking something. Svanen? Jest bei mir lagging. Nein, du musst nicht, Schatz. We didn't spend any points in defensive yet. That's why we were so easy to kill beforehand. Bite. Hard biting, increasing the damage inflicted when using bite in combat. I gotta check out how to bite, by the way. I've got that. Oh, now I'm sleeping, okay. Let's see what changed. Hopefully nothing. Recycle it so we can craft our own shit. I'm not a chemist, so if I blow shit up, don't be surprised. I'll switch my weapon too, because I think my scythe is a bit too... Okay, so I can craft... Ah, okay. A treatment for fatigue. That is... treatment for anemia. Treatment for sepsis. So I gotta treat people on the streets too. Jesus. This game is intricate. I can't praise this game enough for at least the level of detail. Because someone seemingly had an idea about making a game and just crushed it. anybody who didn't die of the Hispanic flu is now either a vampire or what else? I'm surprised London still stands. Okay, apparently I'm too quiet in my stream. I'll turn on the volume. Better? You'll find out in 60 seconds because I have a delay in there. Just let me know as the game progresses. I dig the music, by the way, this dark viola sound. So, I'm back in Whitechapel. There's a merchant, hideout, another hideout. This is where we gotta go anyway. I can't fast travel. I mean, the map is not large or anything, but not hard. Yeah, I wanted to switch weapons.
It's a leak!
I've never played a game with this structure, by the way. It's so... If that's how Dark Souls and other games are, I believe I could play them. But other than that... Ah!
It's locked.
I can enter through here, that's good now. Let's just go back to the hospital. I think I've done way too many quests before. So this sounds better now. Thanks. See if the werewolf is back here. Yes! It's here again! I don't want to fight the werewolf. I don't even know if it's a werewolf. It's just a huge black creature. I don't dare. I'm a baby vampire. I'm scared. So what we do learn when we die, respawn, all the enemies respawn as well, so you don't kill them forever. Join the ranks. Would you like to know more? No, I would not. Why, thank you, London. The only thing I think is a bit of a missed opportunity is that you cannot do this jump on purpose. Just have fixed locations where you can pull off that mystifying thing. You're klar? Don't like the silence. Oi. More proven brawlers, but it's precious XP we could definitely need. I'm playing in story mode and I'm still having an issue fighting. Spaß. Liebe Grüße. Abandoned investment property. Is this where we saved that dude? Yeah, that's where we saved him. Still gotta get used to the map. It's a bit... It's always whenever you start an open world game, it's always a bit hard to get used to the place. The thing is, I don't want to do any mistakes already. There was a scale up there. That's where we gotta deal with the morgue. Did I just hear a scale? Now we're gonna reach the gardens, which is where our friend said he lost his wallet and was attacked by a patient. Patient, I suppose.
Scowl voices in the gardens.
Scowl.
I should investigate. If they were to find somebody.
Oh, dearie. Ah.
So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their affections well.
Well, I had an itch that they did have something going on there. What a twist! What a twist! The good-looking nurse and the good-looking guy have an affair. Oh my god! What a surprise! Jesus! Way too close to the hospital for my liking. Let's check if there are more. They were right behind the patients, Jesus. I think there's some cleaning up I have to do. Spaß euch beiden, gell?
I cannot enter.
Well, it's good that the door's locked. Just imagine the scales getting in there. Nine. Is that the old hospital or some kind of wing? Not familiar yet? Nope. Just an open place, I guess. I just hope there's no timer on it. Wie sie dir zuschaut. So that's a storage room. Liberty. Guess we're gonna loot here. Of course there's a scale in there. I mean, sure. Is there anywhere in London where there's no scale? I wonder if we could actually enter...
It's locked, all right.
One of the more prominent places in London, like the tower.
Behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza.
Well, I suppose while we are to cure the scale disease, we also happen to find out what actually was the
This
reason.
key will surely grant me access to the basement.
What's the reason behind the breakout of the influenza in the first place? Yeah, the axe moves way faster. Yeah, sure, Gal. Take that and that, you bitch. I'm not keen on using guns in this game. It's a vampire game. I don't like using guns in any capacity anyway. So...
It's locked.
Seems to me half the game's locked. But I'm enjoying it. A load. It sure is lots of fun. Let's check out the basement. Okay. That did look like a vampire. Not a skull. So I guess we're being watched.
These scowls feed from corpses and the husks of animals. They're not after blood.
So they're eating flesh, not blood. It's interesting. So suppose they're less like vampires, more like zombies. What if they're not really vampires in the first place? What if this universe is full of different creatures? I mean, we've seen a werewolf before. could be that they're something else entirely. We've had vampires clashing with werewolves, zombies, and other types of creatures in the Vampire the Masquerade games too, so I wouldn't be surprised if we were Death report, Office of Pembroke Hospital, Medical Zone. Descendant Samuel Connor, Caucasian.
Mr. Connor's injuries don't match the report. I'd better look into this. It's locked, all right. It's locked.
Corner of the lips.
Traces of a pinkish foam at the corner of the lips. Some sort of drug overdose, perhaps?
Open chest.
The chest was originally open to perform the operation. The sutures are clean, but the chest has been reopened.
Well.
Multiple abrasions and scarring on the arms and legs. Old and distinctive injuries of a sailor or a fisherman. A puncture over the left lung, possibly a chest tube insertion. Not the cleanest work, but I think it was successful. Signs of internal bleeding. So, Dr. Tippett's anesthetics were incorrectly dosed, causing the patient's death. And then, he tried to operate on him again. Tippett has made an egregious error. It's time we talked.
Jesus. Well, Dr. Tippett, I'm afraid he sure is too old to do the job properly. I mean, I'm sorry, he seemed pretty nice and all, but if he does such an error, he's definitely more of a threat to his patients. More than anything else. So what about the person we saw? Yeah. That was him, apparently. John Doe. So a scale with vampire powers. That's interesting.
These scowls can be so ferocious. I'm not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting.
Yeah, that's what we're working towards. If you guys wondered why I was talking to pretty much everyone
Sodium
I found.
hypochlorite. Dangerous to administer, but efficient in the proper dosage.
In case you guys were wondering why I was talking to pretty much everyone I could find, I was trying to find proper victims. People we, you know, could suck dry without having to suffer terrible consequences, but maybe even help the town in the progress. Because, you know, there are some individuals more dangerous than the other, and those are going to be the ones we're going to drink from. Reach the pharmacy. That is what we're going to do, alright? Why can I leave this place? Okay. So I guess we gotta backtrack. But I wonder, why could this skull use vampiric abilities? if they're just some light version of crazed vampires. Interesting, you know, its plot doesn't thicken or anything, but it's getting a lot more interesting by the second. I mean, being in the dark about the lore of this game makes it even more interesting, you know? With VTMB, you know pretty much the backstory if you played multiple games. In this case, however, there is very little lore we already know. It's something we gotta learn by the second, which indeed turns this into a very unique experience. There is no lore before that. This is the first game in a series, probably. Hopefully, in a series. Maybe there's gonna be a part 2. I hope. Nurse Dorothy Crane. So, let's check our objectives. We're back at the hospital. Bring the medicine to Nurse Dorothy Crane in the patient's room. They're just showing us where our hideout is. That's the mission we already did. That's something we gotta do. Yeah. Oh yeah. This is gonna be a rough one. He has migraine. Cure with treatment for migraine. Treatment for fatigue. So we can't just convince those people with treating their diseases. Let's find Nurse Crane then. The elusive Miss Crane. Just going ahead and also finish the pharmacy quest, because that's gonna linger on us for a while, I guess, if we don't do it now. Bring out your dead! Bring out your dead! It's interesting to just follow plot of something fresh, something you can obsess about, you know. I've rarely had games where you were with from the very inception until it becomes a franchise and can root for it, you know. That's hearing a female choir-ish sound. Sounds interesting. Scout, of course.
This is an impressive knife. There's a name engraved on the metal. Clay. What kind of man puts his name on a knife?
Probably a very dangerous person who will want his knife back. Just a guess. I'd want my knife back too if I had my name engraved on it. Scale?
I cannot enter.
Okay, the door's being locked. I don't think it's something I should change. Maybe that keeps the scales and dangerous entities at bay. I mean, we'll encounter more creatures as the game progresses, I think. The whole thing reeks just like build up. Oh, is that the canal? Oh, no. I hope we can switch lanes here. Ah, yeah, now we can pass the bridge if they let us. Stop calling me vermin. I'm a leech. Leech is better than a vermin. Than a vermin. Fuck my English today. I'm still curious about that creature we encountered before that I considered a werewolf. There's very high probability that I was just wrong about that creature's true nature. If it were a werewolf, it would definitely be awesome. I like when there's a clash of multiple creatures in my horror-themed games. I'm hearing a scowl. Whoa! They sound like ravers on a... H.G. Griffin. Oh, okay, so I guess there are multiple scales with vampiric powers.
Opium is one of the main ingredients of Strickland's medication. Never a good move.
It's good we went here before, so there's no potential dead doctor on our hands. Yeah, let's just return to the hospital. I think I've caused enough trouble for one night / playthrough. I'm still curious about the missing guy though. He talked about his missing friend, and so far I have yet to find him. He went into the canal, and I suppose the canal is, you know, the canal? The docks. Is that the canal? Man, I'm not sure. I just don't know. an office. Don't mind if I do. I am afraid we're doing stuff we're not supposed to do just yet. I'll be heading back to the hospital. Yeah, that's the right way, I suppose. I mean, I sure hope I didn't fuck up anything in the story, or screw with the wrong characters.
Lively! It's on to us! Burn it, boy!
Stop shooting at me. That's unfair. And now you're dead. See what that brought you? Never get you far fighting someone else. So be peaceful, be kind.
It's locked.
I mean, of course, because 90% of this game is locked off from you. Question is, how do I make my way back now? Guess I would like to swim. Pardon me, bloke. I fancy I go swim. Okay then. Guess it's backtracking. I can't reach over there. Ah, shit. Doesn't kill my hype for this game, but still. If anything, the gameplay mechanics remind me a bit of The Witcher. It has some of the gameplay elements. The talking to characters, deducting their dark secrets. It's kind of Witcher-ish. Witcher-esque. And since I consider The Witcher to be definitely one of the game franchises that came about the past few years that had immense staying power, I'd argue that Vampyr has a good chance of becoming a franchise. So obviously, depending on the sales, I mean, of course, a game with bad sales is never gonna get a sequel. But I hadn't heard anything negative about the sales before, so blood? Yeah, that's blood. what's also intriguing is we didn't have any major bugs yet.
See them fancy clothes? This one's a top.
So push down and then I can drink from them. That's what I'm gathering here. I think sooner or later we're gonna join forces with vampire hunters, because if you think about it, the vamps in this game are definitely dangerous as hell. So there needs to be some human force or some human interaction, some human influence on the world that keeps those creatures away from the citizens. What I really wonder is, where do these skells hide during daytime? It's not like those buildings are easy to enter. And just sewers, I haven't found them yet, so how could they? Good. So at first we're gonna do the easy thing and talk to the vampire chick who believes she's a vampire. Dr. Tippets.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet with all the money and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
I agree. Personally, I'd say
Goodbye,
he's making a lot of sense. Next person we're gonna talk to is the experimenting doctor. There's someone new over here. Hawkins, Mr. Elwood, Hawcroft. Someone I cannot get to so far because the door is locked. But I'm gonna talk to the new guy here.
Finally, you've returned, Doctor. Did you find anything of value?
Yes, Nurse.
You've worked your first miracle, Doctor. Now, this patient here needs immediate treatment.
Duty calls? When the storm has passed, I'll show you how to mix the remedy yourself with the same basic ingredients.
Many thanks, Doctor. When you've finished, you ought to report to Dr. Swansea in his office. He's been looking for you. Seemed pressing. Dr. Reed, may I help you?
What can you tell me about the epidemic?
Every day
News on the...
It seemed to...
What can you tell me about our...
This hospital was founded to help the East End poor and needy. But since the war and the quarantine, we've had all manner of folk.
Can you be more specific?
Well, veterans, the elderly, dock workers. We even have a few mental patients. If there's space, we take them.
She does have an accent to her English. Pretty interesting. Maybe that's part of the story.
For how long have you been working here, Nurse Crane?
I first volunteered at the Pembroke in 1911, a few months after Dr. Swansea was appointed.
And before you arrived here?
If you must know, this was my first job.
Well, Dr. Swansea certainly has confidence in your abilities. Are you in charge of the nursing staff?
Not in an official capacity, but the Pembroke doesn't always work above board, so to speak.
What about medical protocols?
Dr. Reed, we don't have the money and resources here at the Pembroke like they do in the West End. We do what we can.
How is the duty roster organized?
Everybody works until they can't. If there's time, they'll eat a meal and shed a silent tear.
I was going to ask her
I'll see
about
you later, Nurse Crane.
about all the rumors about her.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
I located the shop, but it was vandalized, and the owner is missing. All I found was your order.
I was afraid of such bad news. People are so desperate they're ready to burgle a shop for drugs.
That's quite a list you ordered. Opium, sodium hypochlorite. It can't be just headaches you're trying to cure.
This dreadful influenza, of course. I already ran some tests on hopeless cases. Without success, I must admit.
Do you realize you could create a lethal poison without the correct dosage? Then there are the legal ramifications.
Is this not true of any medical substance, Dr. Reed? However, if you would agree to improve it, I'd be glad to accept your help.
As long as you promise to be scrupulous with your experiments, I may try to gather these substances, and even help improve upon the mixture.
That's all I'm asking for, Dr. Reed. That's all I'm asking.
I want to know about these secret tests you run, and if they can save people from this epidemic. Speak to me now, Thoreau.
I know I may sound presumptuous, but I'm just following your steps, Dr. Reed. I'm casting away the shadows of ignorance by daring to face them.
Self-confidence is essential in our line of work, my young colleague, but only if tempered with the correct amount of cynicism.
But you never doubt yourself, Dr. Reed. I've read all your articles and books. You performed the most daring research during the war.
You have my support, Dr. Strickland. I know exactly what it feels like to battle an unknown disease with only your mind and force of will to help you.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. You don't know what that means to me.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
So,
I can't let... Strickland put his patients at risk with opium. Perhaps an adjusted formula will deliver more of a placebo effect.
Mr. Elwood, Tippets. There she is.
Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
I have made inquiries about the men who were tracking you, Miss Howcroft.
I did not expect a mortal to have this sort of courage. Speak, Doctor. Why are they hunting me down?
It was a misunderstanding. These hunters were in fact looking for a very different creature, but they mistakenly put their sights on you.
I knew it. I have become undone. Those hunters have discovered me, but they don't know what I'm capable of.
If you'll accept some advice from a petty mortal,
I think we should assume a low profile and just quietly disappear into the shadows.
You are right. And you have served me well, mortal. Take this as a reward for your time. Perhaps I will allow you to drink deep of my blood. One day.
Thank you. I'll keep that proposition in mind. Tell me, Thelma, what do you really know about vampires?
I saw one and he saw me. I watched him hunt and kill. I saw his terrible wounds heal as his victim died. And then I knew I was saved.
You mean you actually saw a vampire? Here in London?
Yes. And it has been the answer to my pain. I must drink and kill to regenerate my decaying body. I am a vampire too.
You have no idea what problems your claim could cause if heard by the wrong people, Miss Howcroft. You must stop this nonsense now.
Why fear the truth? Strange things live in the dark, Dr. Reed. Strange and ancient beings that were here before this island even had a name.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Wait a second, I think there is another question I would have for her. No, there's none. I thought we could ask her about the vampire who she saw.
Good evening.
Good evening.
What steps are you prepared to take to feel more useful?
I don't know yet. My sister believes that the real fight is in the streets nowadays. Maybe she's right. Maybe this is what I must do.
And what about Milton Hooks? Does he share your point of view?
For Milton, any change means more comfort and more peace. I disagree.
If you feel that saving lives is not useful enough, perhaps it means that you've lost faith.
On the contrary, my faith has never been stronger. Maybe we are all just too proud to face up to the fact that science cannot compete with God.
Pippa, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes, Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins, but are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
Okay.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
I am... There's still someone I have not talked to before. This is the bloke out there, yeah.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague? Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, As a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
It's a very smart way to see this.
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is, we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
So you're ready to die?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful.
I cannot enter.
The flower's dying. It needs water.
So let's just check out all the medicine we can give out to people. So number 1 would be the migraine, I think. So number 1 is Mortimer Goswick, fatigue. Cure with treatment for fatigue. Let's go to Mortimer and give him the meds. Let's drug the man.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
Nothing new, nothing new, nothing new.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Talk to the guy, talk to the guy.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir. I don't mean to be a burden.
You are not a burden, sir. Healing you is my responsibility.
And you have my gratitude for that.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with...
So, we treated him. He's recovering. Healthy, healthy, healthy. Healthy? Oh, I fucked up a hint, I guess. Shit. Newton Blight. Healthy. Treatment for cold. He's got a cold. Migraine and fatigue. Fatigue. Okay, let's just talk to Dr. Swansea. Or to the nurse first, because I guess that's kind of pressing. If he fucked up harshly, she probably knows.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Tell me what Dr. Tippets did. I know his mistake caused a patient's death.
If I had not covered up his error, Dr. Tippets would have been fired from this hospital. I could not let that happen.
You can't allow your emotions to dictate your conduct concerning patients, Nurse Brannigan.
Look around you, Dr. Reed. Do you really think we can afford to lose a brilliant practitioner like Dr. Tippets in our situation?
Perhaps you did it with the best intentions, Nurse Brannigan, but you took a great risk. Must I remind you that a man died?
You mean you've never made a mistake? Never covered your tracks? Come on, Doctor. I wasn't born yesterday.
Well, I ought to talk to Tippets.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
I'm not quite sure I like where this is going.
Good evening, Dr. Tippets.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Corcoran, I want you to tell me about Mr. Connor. How did he die? What happened?
He was my patient. He died because of my mistake. That's the blunt truth.
What was the nature of the mistake?
It was a twofold error. My diagnosis was wrong, and the administered dosage was too strong.
Who was this patient?
I don't know. Some sick man from the docks, maybe a fisherman. I had no time to talk with him. No one claimed a body.
Why not stop practicing?
Are you mad? I killed that man, I admit it, and it won't happen again. I have saved so many lives since then.
Yeah, I'll do it.
I will cover for you, Dr. Tippets, by keeping what happened to Mr. Connor to myself.
I don't know what to say, actually. I can't exactly force you to become my accomplice.
You didn't force me. This is my decision to make. I believe you're still of use to the hospital, considering the situation.
Then I can make you this promise. As soon as the epidemic is eradicated, I will resign.
Yeah, I think that was probably the right choice.
What will you do after your resignation? Do you have a plan?
I always fancied visiting Cyprus. Such a beautiful island. I could buy a house there, by the sea. Read poetry, and wait for death.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Good, let's talk to Swansea. And then put in another little pause. Gotta go to the toilet and maybe grab a bite to eat. That was a very valid question. Why did they come here if they don't care much about the hospital at all? So, talking to Swansea. My boy.
Please, Jonathan, come in. Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea, but my condition defies scientific categorization. Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
It may seem strange, but your words have brought me some comfort here.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please, call me Edgar.
There is no need to apologize, Edgar. You offered me sanctuary when I had none.
Very well. I have a task for you, Jonathan. Something that will require all your newfound skills.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. Now, if you could help her out...
A spokesman or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to eradicate this threat?
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Accepted. I'll see what kind of trouble Lady Ashbury is in.
Alright, let's just check out his office and... Okay, that's Aykroyd's letter. A new hint. I'll be heading to my office then and evolve, as the game calls it, and continue playing later on.
It's locked, all right.
The stream will end, and that was chapter 2. minor peripheries, but yeah. So I don't have a cure for fatigue. Fatigue is always annoying. Bronchitis, needing some more stuff for that. Good. The blood barrier. Yeah, I believe it's necessary. Ah, that sounds good. The bite and health. Try to get more health out of this. See if it works. Yes, more health is always good. I believe I need a drink though. The ultimate is probably gonna be more important as we go on. I'll just confirm, get some rest, and he has awoken again the following night. So what has changed? Good. So, this is where I'm gonna finish the stream for a few minutes. Then we'll be back with chapter 3 of Vampyr. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Blurk. And have a wonderful, wonderful day, you all.